Hey there. I thought of starting to share a little bit of what I'm doing when I tell everyone that I hang out in my new workshop. And well, that happens quite a lot recently. And yes, I am really there, actually doing stuff. Well, mostly at least. Sometimes it's a good excuse just to get out of the house as well, hanging out on my office couch, staring at the ceiling and dreaming about a life as a successful woodworker. And anyways, step by step. That's what my girlfriend loves to say. Dreams mostly don't just become true. You got to start somewhere. So here we go. I am still organizing myself here, and while I was searching for a small project with some wood that I found on the street recently, I knew there's only one thing to make that as easy and fun to realize. A cutting board out of old scrap material is always enjoyable to build. Not very creative and not a very new idea, but a good first project to film and cheap on top. It still takes a lot of steps and patience to prepare until you see the final result though. I chose a style where the end grain is visible from the top, a so-called end grain cutting board, which is much more time consuming and difficult to make, but just looks super cool. You can create all sorts of shapes and color formations. You have probably seen them around online somewhere. But yeah, I don't know if you got that, as I'm not there yet with my build and I'm also not really showing it to you yet in this video, but trust me, it's going to look awesome. In case you couldn't follow much so far, I want to excuse myself. This is the very first voiceover video that I made, and wow, it's really not so easy. In case you actually understood what I'm on about, yay, follow me! In order for the cutting board to look clean and square, I had to make sure to create a very clean surface on the wood, and so I needed to use my jointer to establish a 90-degree angle on two sides of the blocks. As I found the pieces on the street, they were really heavily twisted, as you could see before, and really not the best quality at all. Lots of knots and cracks and maybe not fully dry, but whatever. That's why I decided to be extra careful with my tools, to not damage or destroy them in the process. I chose a very low cut setting of half a millimeter on my jointer and planer and spent almost 2 hours just planing them down. Woodwork certainly doesn't always feel as romantic as it seems. Damn. But as painstakingly that process may seem, it gives me a lot of joy actually. Well, that's it for the first part. The second will come where pieces will quite literally come together and things will make more sense. See you soon and bis bald.